Hey all, Ron K. Armstrong, filmmaker extraordinaire, and today I have a really special edition for you. And I'm going to be talking about a film called Ooga Booga, and this is a really unique film. But before I go into that, I want to talk a little bit about the company that actually started this whole thing and produced this film. Now, Ooga Booga is one film of many, approximately 270, or give or take a few, from a company called Full Moon Entertainment, which you see here. And I've been a fan of those guys for like years. I mean, years. It's headed by this cool guy named Charles Band, and I think it has its origin, I think, in Rome, where he started this production company there, and then the production company, I think, fell apart, and then he moved to the United States, and then started shooting films that went basically direct to video. However, I remember when I was really young and saw Star Wars, right after Star Wars, there was a film that came out called Laser Blast, and Charles Band produced that. And I think he produced and directed it. And Laser Blast was really cool. It was very different for the time, but kind of appropriate because it still dealt with stop motion animation, you know, made famous by Harryhausen. And, you know, films at that time did a lot of stop motion. In fact, The Empire Strikes Back, you see the all-terrain armored transports, they were done using stop motion. But Laser Blast was a cool film, and you can still check it out online. It was about these aliens that came to Earth. They were like bounty hunters. They were tracking down, I guess, a really bad alien, and then it left behind some amulet, and this young kid found the amulet, and it turned him into a demon, and he had a hold of the weapon that they had, this laser blast, and he went around shooting and killing everybody, and the aliens had to come back and kill him and get him before he would harm any more humans. But the film is awesome. It's a classic. And one of the things I want to talk a little bit about Full Moon Entertainment is that you got to appreciate the type of films that they do, because they do really low budget films. At the time they were doing these films, they were going like, I think Laser Blast was in theaters, but when Charles Band started really pumping these films out, they were going direct to video, and he was actually doing a feature film every month for a time. And that was just truly amazing. And I think the company was founded when he came over here, the United States, was founded back in 1988. And Laser Blast goes all the way back to 1978, like I said, right after Star Wars. And I think it's produced or released under now another title called Wizard Entertainment, which is under Full Moon. And they have all these like subsidiaries that they release their films under. And it's really, really amazing. So, yeah, he was in, and prior to when he was in Rome, I think he had a company called Empire Pictures, I think it was, and I think that went defunct, and he came here and he started Full Moon and started producing awesome titles. Now, you may have heard of his films because his films have done really well. The first one he did was in 1988, I believe. It was 1988. It's called Puppet Master, and Puppet Master is awesome. Awesome. You've got to see this film to believe it. And one of the things I always love about Full Moon Entertainment is that they've always had a lot of an eye on merchandising, but creating cool, interesting characters that you can follow along with, identify with, and just amazing. But let me go on because I want to get to Ooga Booga, and I talk a little bit about that as well. So yeah, and just to say that the reason that Charles Band was able to release these films, I believe he had a deal with Paramount Pictures and Pioneer Home Entertainment, where they would do these direct-to-video releases on VHS and Laserdisc. You remember Laserdisc way back when, so Full Moon was pumping these things out. And you know what the great thing about this is that when Full Moon was coming out with these feature films, they would also do something at the end of the film called Video Zone. And Video Zone was kind of like you're behind the scenes of how they made the film, but also you had Charles Band talking about like what was coming up. You know, so you got a sneak peek at the movies that would be released, and he would talk a little bit about production, which was really good for filmmakers. You know, about the budgeting and the casting process and all that. And he even released a series of DVDs which I purchased on how to be a filmmaker, a low budget filmmaker, and that was really cool because it told you all aspects of like how do you get a distributor, how do you get quality actors, things of that nature. So. another thing, good point to mention too, is that similar to Loot Crate, I don't know if you know what Loot Crate is, but you sign up, you pay this small monthly fee, and you get this box of really cool merchandise. Full Moon does that. They have a surprise box. If you pay a small fee, it comes to you, and you get all this cool stuff in the box. And I of course, I signed up for it, and it's awesome. You get some cool stuff. So, what you can do is check with Full Moon Streaming. That's their website, and it's really low cost. And on there, they advertise the surprise box and what you may get, the cost and all that, and it's really awesome. But Full Moon Streaming is another thing I want to talk about, because what has happened now is that things have changed. You don't have Blockbuster, you don't have Hollywood Video anymore. They're not there. Man, when I was a hardcore Full Moon fan, I was going like every week to my video store and checking out the new titles, right? So, but when the video stores closed down and things started migrating to cable, and then, all these other crazy channels and streaming like Amazon and Netflix, it was very hard to find the Full Moon titles. But now Full Moon has come out with their own thing, which is Full Moon Streaming, which again, like I said, you pay a small fee and you get access basically to their entire library of films. And that is awesome. So you can go back and watch all the classics that they release, including, I think, Laser Blast. You can get all the Puppet Master films. And let me just show you some of the classics that that used to come out on DVD, and I think they still do if you sign up for the surprise box, which is like Puppet Master versus Demonic Toys. Now, the Demonic Toys was cool. They also had another feature called Doll Man, which I loved. That was freaking awesome. Check that out. Go to Full Moon Streaming, check that out. And I took out a membership of Full Moon Streaming for I think about 6 months or a year. Really cost effective. It's cheap. And you're getting more for than what you paid for, because you're getting access to a lot of cool films. Because as I said, they have Wizard Entertainment. They have a whole they have all these labels that fall under Full Moon that they're releasing films under. And that's, like I said, I think it goes back to about 270 films. So, and this one is a Dog Graveyard, a film by Charles Band, of course. And this is another one called Bugged by this filmmaker Ron Armstrong. Oh, that's me. How did that title get in there? But anyway, so, but you got to appreciate the films. Don't go in expecting you're going to see like crazy CGI. There is CGI in some of their films, but it's not going to be like Avatar or anything like that. It's really awesome low budget films that you take your girlfriend, you sit down, or your boyfriend, you sit down, you watch them, on a Friday, Saturday night, and you really have a lot of fun, But let me see what I want to make sure I don't miss any important points here. But I want to go back and I want to talk about the original reason why I am making this video, which is Ooga Booga. Now, when Charles Band released Ooga Booga, I saw the poster and I was like, what the hell is this? It looks so racist. It's about this tribal puppet that goes around killing people, which is very similar to a lot of Full Moon pictures, because you got Ginger, I think it's Ginger Dead Man, which Gary Busey did the voice. That was cool. But when I saw this tribal puppet or doll, which reminded me of like just this whole racist thing back from the 1940s and 50s. But then I started thinking a little bit more about the Trilogy of Terror, which I loved. I don't know if you guys have seen Trilogy of Terror. It had the kind of same thing with this little tribal puppet that when the necklace fell off, he terrorizes this white woman. Huh? Funny, right? So anyway, but the thing about Ooga Booga that really kind of perturbed me was that it just seemed overtly racist. When you even saying the word Ooga Booga is kind of like making fun of African dialects, So, I sent Charles Band an email and I was like, Charles, what is this? And I actually got a reply. I don't even know if it was him personally, but he did reply, and basically saying, hey, Ron, it's all in fun, And I was like, fun? What's fun about this? It's racist, But, now check this out, but I actually got an opportunity to see the film on Full Moon Streaming, and I was pleasantly surprised, and I really, really enjoyed the film. Let me tell you why, though. not from just the film was just entertaining, but this is the only film that I've ever seen that really dives deep into how the system, the justice system, is rigged. Now let me explain what the plot is. It's about this young kid. He is a medical student, African-American kid, medical student. He goes to this convenience store to get a slushie. He ends up witnessing a robbery. I think he calls the cops. The cops show up and automatically assume that he's the perpetrator. He's the one that was robbing the convenience store, and they actually kill him. They murder him, and they try to cover it up. So what eventually ends up happening is that his soul gets transferred into this tribal little doll, Ooga Booga, and the film moves on from there, where Ooga Booga is out seeking revenge to kill the evil or the racist cops, right? But that's one aspect of the story and what I read into it, right? The main thing that I want to point out is that what I loved about this film and what it did justice to is what you don't see in films like NYPD Blue, all these other cop shows, so many which are on TV and cable, which pretend that the justice system is an actual system of justice where everything is fair and equal. And if you are a good person, you do right, no matter what your gender or your color is, that you will get justice, and that's not true. And what you see in Ooga Booga is how the prosecution, the defense works with the judge to get cops off. You see the payoffs, you see how the legal system is basically broken. And this is so right on time for what happened last year in 2016, when we saw the inundation of how the news media carried these stories on young African-American males being shot down, many of who were unarmed. Some had their backs turned, hands up, and were still shot by the police, went to trial, and the cops got off. Now, you don't understand, and we're not privy to the whole system and how it's rigged, how the district attorney works, how the prosecutor has close ties with the police department and close ties with the judges and all that connections. But in Ooga Booga, they basically show you those connections. They show you how the system is rigged and what happens behind closed doors, where you see the police speaking with the judge, the prosecution, the defendant, the prosecution and the defense attorneys, all involved in this, and the deals are working to get the cops off, and even how the cops patrol the streets, what they do, their racist perspectives, and for some also, because we know not all cops are bad, you do see good cops and what they try to do to rectify the situation. So this film is I've never seen a film that actually tackles this issue about how the system works. And Ooga Booga by Charles Band basically tells you it's broken. There's a problem, and you see it outlined. And it's wonderful, because I'm so sick of seeing the propaganda of the modern mainstream liberal media that, hey, this is, like we're all equal and we're going to help and Black Lives Matter and all of that. And the reality is that you have a really screwed up system, and unless we have, the Attorney General, somebody interfere, it's not going to get fixed. It's not going to get fixed. So listen, with all that said, the other aspect of it is that Ooga Booga is an entertaining film. It's a great entertaining film. It's fun to watch. I loved it from beginning to end, and I was wrong. I was thinking, oh, this is going to be a racist film, because it at first it seemed like that, but then when I got into it, like I said, there's these layers upon layers that you can read into it, and you begin to understand. I love the fact that this kid's a medical student. He was trying to do the right thing by calling the police, and now he was out for revenge. Now again, this is a typical full moon film. Don't go in expecting a large production. It's very low budget, but adequate for what it is. You know what I mean? I don't know how else to put it. and it works. It really works, and I loved it. It's great, you know. And while I recommend you see that, while you're seeing it, go explore Full Moon's other films. Go see Doll Man, Demonic Toys. You know, go see Head of the Family, Ginger Dead Man. Go explore all those films. It's great. Sign up. I'm not connected with Full Moon in any way, so I'm just an avid watcher of their films, and I love the history of the company and what they've done in the low budget arena. And they've launched a lot of careers too, and they're working with well-established actors. And actually, the good point to make of that, I think Ooga Booga stars Karen Black from House of a Thousand Corpses and Stacy Keach from American History X. So they do always try to import really well-known actors into their films, and they've always tried to be diverse in terms of, like, at one point I believe, I'm not sure if it's still going, they had an African-American division where they were producing African-American films. And those were great. Oh yeah, one of my favorite, now that I think about it, is Killjoy. And they just released his new one, Killjoy Cycle Circus, I think it's called. And they put a lot of Full Moon fans in the film, and it was great. That film was awesome too. So again, I can't say enough praises. The company's great, the films are great. I look forward to them being in business for many more years, and I'm gonna keep watching their films. And you should check them out too. So, with all of that said, this is Ron K. Armstrong, filmmaker, and that's all for now.